Hi, this is James Cook from the University of Maine at Augusta. I'm recording this video today to show you how to use a program called R, along with RStudio, to uh, collect data on an entire online community on the social media platform Reddit. R is advantageous because it is created and maintained by researchers uh, and is free to anyone who wants to use it. RStudio is a nice shell that fits on top of it that makes R a little bit more usable. And Reddit is really interesting because it has a series of subreddits that are organized by topics. And they're like rooms that you go into. And when you go into that room, the neat thing about Reddit is that it is by default public. So that means you don't have to go through an institutional review board. And number two, you can see all the talk that's going on in the room. This is a strong advantage over things like online surveys, which many early researchers want to resort to because they've heard that surveys are a great way of finding out how people work. But unfortunately, especially online surveys are just not representative, and therefore the answers you tend to get are not indicative of what's really going on with this underlying population you're interested in. The neat thing about studying Reddit is that you can go right to that set of people that you're interested in understanding. You can if you're interested in understanding online groups, you can look at the entire group. So to get started, we're going to install R and then RStudio, and then we're going to talk about how to gather information from Reddit using a program called RedditExtractoR that works within R. Now, I already have R installed, so I'm just going to show you where you can get R installed. If you go to any search engine, including Google, and you type R, the letter R, project, R stands for research, you will see the R project for statistical computing. Click that page. It's rproject.org, and you're going to get a lot of text. It's going to look a little confusing, but just notice over here on the left, the first link is to download. So CRAN, it's a distributed set of places where you can download R from, so that no one place to download R from gets bothered. It's called the Comprehensive R Archive Network, and it's a series of websites from around the world. Now, you might want to pick one that is close to you, so the information doesn't have to travel too far, although the cost of that is decreasing. You might also want to pick an institution that you feel is reputable, although you'll notice most of these are universities, which should not have problems. So I could click here on Iowa State University in the USA, relatively close to myself. And then you'll notice that there is a link at the top that says a set of links that say download and install R. You can download R for Linux, you can download it for Mac, Apple Macintoshes, and you can download it for Windows. So it's as easy as that. And then when it comes to, if we head back to a search engine like Google, if we want to install RStudio, simply Google RStudio. Now, here you're going to get a few detours because they want you to pay, notice pricing, they want you to pay for it. If you were a major corporation, you should. But there's an opportunity for you to do some downloads. Notice this little link, download, for free. If you're a student, there's no reason for you to not use the free version. You'll want to use RStudio Desktop. It's true you won't get priority support and an admin dashboard and a launcher, but that's all right. When you get a little richer, you can help support RStudio with a commercial or other license. So you just click download. Here it is. And you can download it again for Windows, which is the big icon. But you can also download it for Macs and for various Linux platforms as well. So I'm going to assume you feel comfortable doing that. Once you do that, what you'll want to do is launch RStudio. And that itself will load R. And it will look like this. So this is a little confusing at first glance. There are your standard menu items on the top, but there are 4 windows, and it might seem overwhelming. But it doesn't really have to be. What you're going to see on the lower right is a place for you to go look through. It's a file browser. Or if you create graphics, it's a place for you to look at graphics. In the upper right is a place where you will have data sets that are created be available for you. That's super, right? And then in the lower left, it's going to describe, with what's called a log, it's going to describe what it's done and whether it's worked or not worked. It is in the upper left that you are actually going to write some commands. And to say that you're writing commands means that you're writing a script. That sounds like programming, which sounds scary, but it really doesn't have to be. A set of commands is in a row is not necessarily any more complicated than going to a drop-down menu and finding a particular command and then indicating options. It's just that you're writing it. So I'm going to show you how simple that kind of program can be. What we're going to want to do is write a 3-line program. Really, I'm not kidding. Just 3 lines. And let me see if I can make this a little larger. Let's zoom in. Yes, we're going to want to make this bigger so you can see what's going on here a little better. Okay, but the first thing we're going to want to do in this R environment, this place where we want to do some research, is that we're going to want to load a particular package, and that is called RedditExtractor. It's a piece of software written by a researcher to go to Reddit and look at a particular subreddit, which is one of those subject area discussion rooms, essentially, and to download recent interactions there and to turn it into a data set. It's a really handy little package, and that's the neat thing about R, is that there are so many packages written by so many people which are trying to help you do research. So in order to access this, we are going to simply say that we want to use this package. It's called RedditExtractoR, and it has a capital R because it's an R, and it's using the library command. Why is it called the library command to load a package rather than the package command to load a package? I don't know, that's just the way it is. Now, if I wanted to just run this right now, I could do that under code. I would go to run region and then run all. Okay, code, run region, run all. That will run all the lines of data. But it's going to give me an error, I think. Oh, darn. It says down here in the lower left, you have no package called RedditExtractor. That's because we haven't installed it yet. So we'll install it. Let's go to Tools. Okay, that's in the drop-down menu up at the top, Install Packages. And we will type in RedditExtractor. Now, R actually already has a set of lists of popular packages. This is one of them, so it will suggest it to you. And now we can install it. Okay, and then it gives us some information and data, downloading it. But really what you're interested in the log is the line package RedditExtractor successfully unpacked and MD5 sums checked, which means the package was downloaded successfully. It wasn't corrupted in any sense, and now it's available to us. So that now, if I wanted to run everything that's in this one-line program I created, oh, it's telling me a little something else. It's saying, oh, we tried to run that, but RedditExtractor itself uses another package called tidyselect. This happens sometimes, right? So sometimes a big package that you're using is using other smaller packages. No problem. We're not going to cry about it. Instead, we're going to go to Tools, Install Packages, and we are going to install tidyselect. Excuse me. And let's see how that goes. Okay. Do I want to restart R prior to installing? It's suggesting I do, so I will. And then it's just restarting the session, and now it's installing it. And there we go, successfully unpacked. So now, again, I'm going to go in, and this happens sometimes. You just need to follow through and make sure all the packages and all the packages that rely on that package are installed. We'll try to run this again. And now it's just telling us down at the bottom that it ran the command library RedditExtractor, which means it loads it into the system, ready to run. And well, that's it. That's all we asked it to do. So now it's done. There's no red text with errors, hooray, or advisories. Sometimes red text is just advisories. So now we're ready to go. Okay. So once we have that first line there, let's go to line 2 of our 3-line program. And that is that we want to create a data set. And let's do that. We want to go now to Reddit, and we want to look at a particular subreddit. Which one? Oh, I don't particularly care here. Let's go up to the top and let's go find a random subreddit. Boy, I hope it isn't unsafe for work. Okay. Let's see what is this? Oh, it's the Reddit for Lost. I want a different one. I'm going to click random again. Specialized tools. Well, that sounds fun. Okay. By the way, let's make this a little bit bigger. So you'll notice here's the name of the subreddit, Specialized Tools, and here are the discussion posts that people have posted, some of them with comments, right? And it seems to be a list of a set of tools. Okay, so that's great. A hat stretcher for people with big heads. I'm one of them. I have a large head. So this is called Specialized Tools, all one word. We're going to remember that. We're going to go back to our R page here. This is our R program. And we're going to type in the name of a data set that we want. And we're going to call it whatever we want. It could be James, it could be shirt, it could be cloud. But I'm going to call it Specialized Tools Dataset because that's what it is. And then I'm going to say, okay, in order to get that, okay, this is what the result we want. And then this is like a little arrow that says it's a lesser than sign and then a dash. And that means, hey, if we want to get this thing, we're going to do all the stuff on the other side of the arrow. And how we're going to do that is we're going to run the special RedditExtractor command, get _ Reddit. Now, it's got suggestions here so that you're not going to misspell anything, which is nice. How did I know that that was the command, get Reddit? Well, what I've done is I've gone online and I've looked up RedditExtractor package, R, on a search engine. And it turns out that there is a PDF file, which is just a universally readable file that describes all the commands for any R package. And so I looked it up for RedditExtractor. And if I want to get some Reddits, I want to use the command getReddit. Now, the command getReddit is going to have options. And in R, options are indicated with the use of parentheses. So I'm putting in parentheses. And what am I putting in there? Well, the first option that I need to specify, and again, you could look this all up on the RedditExtractor information page, is that I want to specify, name a particular subreddit. And that one I need to put in quotes is going to be specialized tools. Now I'm going to go back over to Reddit actually, and I'm going to verify, yes, it is specialized tools, all one word. Great. Okay. And then the second thing I need to do is get a second option. Excuse me. And we separate options here with a comma. And then I'm putting in a space so I can read it. And the second option is page_threshold. And you can see what it's going to be here. It says page threshold that controls the number of pages that is going to be searched for a given search word. 1 by default. So if I didn't put anything, it would say page threshold equals 1. What is a page? It's like, essentially, you imagine loading a web page, right? And here on this web page, it only goes back so far, and then you'll notice it says, oh, we could do the next page. It's like that, okay? Sometimes the page is a little bit bigger than what you load in your web page, but the idea is, with a subreddit, the most recent ones usually occur first. So you load the first page, you're getting the first set of most recent ones. You could get a second page, a third page, a fourth page, a fifth page. Let's just set our page threshold at 3 this time. And then let's call that a command. Now, it's going to create a data set right here that is readable in R format. But the last thing we want to do is we want to get it out of R, because maybe you don't want to use this scary thing. Maybe you just want to look at it in a regular old Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, or perhaps you would like to be able to load it into another analysis program of some kind. Or maybe you want to use spreadsheet analysis tools, to get simple means or modes or medians or things like that. The key to do that is to get it into this universal format that just about any data set can be expressed in, which is called a CSV. A CSV file stands for comma separated values, where each cell in a data set is separated by commas. And then a row is indicated usually by a carriage return of some sort, and then more cells with more commas. So that can be read by Google Docs. It can be read by Microsoft Access or Microsoft Excel. It can be read by R. It can be read by SAS, SPSS. Really, almost any other data program on the planet can read a CSV file. So we want to write this resulting data set out. Oh, well, there's a command for that. It's called write.csv. Now, what do we want to write? Well, we're going to need to indicate some options here. The thing we want to write out into a CSV file is our dataset, which we have named Specialized Tools Dataset. R remembers that, so when I start typing it, I can actually pick that. It'll finish typing it for me. And then where do I want to put it? Ha, 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 ha. Okay, so, excuse me. For me, I'm going to write down a particular path for on my computer a directory. You're going to have to find a path that works for your directory. And that's different for Macs and Linuxes and Windows machines. Every one is going to be a little different. You basically need to find a nice folder somewhere and then look at its options in order to figure out what the name of that is. I'm going to simply write down my path. Okay, every Windows machine, which is what I'm working on, has a desktop, and my username is, not surprisingly for my computer, James Cook. That's my username for the computer. So my file pathway so far is C // users / James Cook, and then I want it to go on the desktop. Now you could put it someplace else. That's okay, but we need to then give it a name, and we're going to call it specialized tools.csv. CSV, not B. Okay, and that is our third and last command. And that's it. That's the program. This is how you can get a data set of your own, which is the public data. You don't have to go to IRB for. And you could go back further in time than 3 units, but this is a good place to start. And let's run it by going to code and then run all. And let's see what happens. Okay, what we see down here is that it is working on the first line. That's done. Now the second line. It hasn't gotten to the third line yet. Why? Because it's collecting data. How far is it in? 4%. And you can tell it's running because there's this stop sign icon. Now don't press that unless you need to cancel. Because what that would do is call everything to a halt, like if you realized you asked it to do something impossible that was really confusing. We're already at 15%, and we're going to continue. It won't take very long, I hope. If it does take much longer, I'll pause the video. No worries. But you can see it's not taking that long. We're already 1/5 done. And then it's going to go to the last command, which is to write the file out. So let's wait. All right. So here we are at 100%. Notice the stop sign has gone away. That means that our script is done running. And look in the upper right. We have a new data set here. It's called Specialized Tools Data. Let's look at it. Oh, it tells us we have 18 variables and that we have 4,719 obses. What's an obs? It's an observation. It's a case. Let's take a look at it. We could actually look at it and work with it entirely in the R program, like this. So it has the classic variables in columns and cases in rows structure. And it describes posts, how many comments are in the posts, if there's a particular comment for that post, what date comment was made on. The date structure is a little weird where the month is in the middle and the days on the left, but we can live with that. It gives us the username of the author of the post, and then user is a column that describes the author of the comment to the post. It gives us a comment score because you can vote up or vote down a particular comment. And then it gives us the text of a number of things. It gives us the text of the original post slicing guide to make it easier to cut plum tomatoes into halves or quarters. And then over here, we have an empty space for post text here because it's just a video that was posted there. But if we scroll down for other examples, we will find somewhere down here, okay, there are a lot of videos here, we should find some post text somewhere. Will we? Not with this Reddit. Okay, so apparently on this Reddit, de-choking tool, cute. On this Reddit, there are no post texts because it's not, oh, that's interesting. Well, we can check this out, right? Because there are no, we're going to literally take this URL. They're only putting images in there, and so there's no text apparently. Let's find out. Let's take that literally URL variable and let's paste that in. A hat stretcher for people with big heads. And let's see what it shows. Oh, yeah. Look. See, on this, oh, that's so cool. On this subreddit, people don't put in text in the posts. They only put in images. Okay, and this is the hat stretcher. Okay, now I do see a link here, right? Is that the link to the image file? Let's find out. Yep. So it captures the URL for the image file, which is great if you wanted to say study images. And then people do comment with text, okay? And, you know, like this one says, I miss when the MLB fitted caps were wool, blah, 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 blah. And someone here who just says simply, same, brother, same. Someone with a big head like mine. So that's cool. It's got everything you need to describe what's going on in here, right? I love it. And how many rows did we get? Indeed, we got 4,719 rows of data. So just in really a few minutes, you collected a huge data set regarding a material for, well, only a couple of days on this subreddit I never knew existed before, specialized tools, which people just love. And you could be the next person to study it. I'm pretty sure no one's ever written a research paper on specialized tools, but there you are. But finally, okay, there it is. That's our data set here. If we wanted to work with it in another program, we did ask it to write down to my desktop, and to on my desktop have something called specializedtools.csv, which should be a file that should load into any regular spreadsheet program. Let's look for it. So I'm going to bring up my desktop. And there it is. Okay, I can make this bigger so you could, we're not even going to bother that. I'm going to make this a high definition video, and you can see there it is, specialized tools. And when I click it, double click it, it opens in Microsoft Excel, where I could work with it just as I please. You know, so one thing I could do is make the comments big so I can read the whole thing. You know, that's great. And then there's all these things you can read about it. I love it. There's your data set. It is not a sample within a particular time frame. It is the entire population of interactions on your subreddit. You're ready to go and do whatever you want to do next. So what would you do next? There are a lot of things you could do next. One thing you could do next is that, for instance, you could describe, notice there's this variable called structure. It's a little bit of a weird one, but it indicates in the set of nested comments where, you know, a person can comment and then a person can comment on a comment, who's replying to whom. Because these are all, note, about, these first ones are all on the slicing guide to make it easier to cut plum tomatoes into halves or quarters. It appears a number of times because there's a number of comments. Wouldn't it be neat if you wanted to, say, study the network structure of who talks to who and why? Well, you could do that. You could also look at all these comments and what people say, how they say it, what their emotionality is. You could do a content analysis, either manually, if you wanted to go through 4,719 rows of text, You could code it based on what you're looking for. Or you could use an automated tool in R called sentiment analysis, which is an automated reading through of the words and coding it for certain levels of emotionality or anxiety or things like that. It is up to you what to do next, but the possibilities are really endless. If it ever seemed difficult to you or really unapproachable for you to get your own data set, know that that is no longer the case. Thanks to a number of researchers who are interested in helping you do that, thanks to social media platforms like Reddit, and thanks to the internet itself and the times we live in, it's really quite possible to get your own data set, to do your own study, and then the responsibility is on you to do so thoughtfully and responsibly. I hope this has been helpful as a guide, and good luck in studying Reddit.